Good morning, and welcome to Vigilant Broadcasting. The station opportunity presents Underneath the Hat with your host, author Sherri Simmons, as she discusses topics to help us all take care of ourselves underneath the hat. Good morning. My name is Sherri Simmons, and welcome to the debut of my radio show, Underneath the Hat, an affiliate of Vigilant Broadcasting and the Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. I am so excited to be with you today on this day, March 2nd, for the very first show of my radio show, Underneath the Hat. We will discuss various topics and have conversations about things that so often we sweep under the rug or keep to ourselves underneath our hats and be able to help each other to heal and deal with different issues so that we can become better people. If you want to call in, the number is 319-527-2634, or you can tune in on Facebook at Talk Radio TV Network, LLP, or just go to my page underneath the hat and you'll find the link there. So if you have any questions, you want to wish me well on my very first debut radio show, or discuss different things that I've been involved in, which we'll get into later, call in and let's chat. So how did I get on the radio? It is a question I ask myself all the time. But it all started with me writing my very first book, Underneath the Hat. And it comes from me being a broken person that stayed in a controlling and manipulative relationship. And now I'm trying to learn who I am underneath the hat and allow my light to shine so that others can no longer feel like they are suffering in silence. So this radio show came to be by me basically stepping out on faith. I told God at the beginning of this year, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. I submitted to Him, and doors have been opening up ever since. And this radio show came because Kimberly McLemore actually interviewed me. And when I saw that she had a broadcasting company, I stepped out on faith and reached out to her, and here I am today. So I always ask God, why me? Why are you allowing me to use these various platforms? And He told me, why not? So often we go through different tests, and a lot of us don't learn from our tests, which end up being testimonies. And so because of the things that I had gone through, which we'll discuss today, I was able to be a vessel for Him to use to help other women who felt like they were suffering in silence. So this is where I am now. I'm now a radio show host here, not for the fame, but to help people who may not feel like they have someone to talk to, someone to listen to them, but want to be able to share their story and get healed from the things that they are going through. Every week on Saturday, from 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time to 11 o'clock a.m., I will be here with you discussing various topics. Now, because I'm a teacher in Chicago Public Schools, I love to get everyone involved. I don't want it to just be me doing all the talking. This will be the most that you hear of me on a Saturday, I promise. So the agenda and the overview of this radio show will have introductions. We will talk about the topic. We'll have conversations. We'll have disagreements. We'll be able to share how we feel about different things. And prayerfully, people will leave better than when they came. We'll also hear from different guests who have their own stories to tell so that they can continue to be a beacon of light for someone and help someone else to no longer suffer in silence underneath the hat. So now, let's talk about my book. And for those that have read my book and you're listening, I want you to call in now. And I want to thank my engineer, Justin. He's waiting for your call. So if you've read my book, Underneath the Hat, please call in so we can have a conversation about it, so you can share with the listeners what you thought about it, things that jumped out at you while you were reading the book. But the name of my book is Underneath the Hat, and it is based on a true story, but it's about Amanda Jane and her husband, Campbell. Campbell is a Baptist preacher, and Amanda Jane is a teacher. And it talks about the lessons and the purposes that she learned about herself through the infidelity with an S, infidelity of her husband, a minister in their city. And so she went from setting the platform of how they met to them getting married to the things coming out in their marriage of him having these various mistresses, and all of this was happening right underneath Amanda Jane's nose. And then it goes through her divorce and the lessons that she learned through that, and her rebuilding herself underneath the hat. I chose that title because of the uniform that a first lady, which is the wife of the pastor, because of the uniform of a first lady being a hat, and Amanda Jane having that role in the church. So often, as a first lady, we hide things underneath the hat. There's a certain way you have to act. There's a certain way you should sit. There's a certain way you should dress. And you're also told not to let everyone in because you never know who's there to hurt you. You don't want too much of your business coming out in the church because you have a certain image to uphold. And so I wanted to reveal what was underneath the hat of Amanda Jane, all of the hurt and the disappointment and the control and the confusion that she was feeling as being a first lady, as being a woman, and then having all these things happen around her, yet she still carries herself as a young lady at all times. So again, if you've read the book and you want to call in and chat, go ahead and call into the number 319-527-2634 and tell us what you think about the book. Now, one of my favorite parts of the book is the Snap, Crackle, Pop chapter. And this is where Amanda Jane had a moment like we all do where she just literally had reached her breaking point. She was done with being nice. She was done with constantly being lied to. She was done with finding out bit after bit after bit of the different things that had been happening around her, and no one bothered to tell her what was going on. And so she finally had some moments where she had to come out of her body and do some things that she normally wouldn't do. Now, she didn't go so far because I'm sitting right here in my office recording my radio show, so I'm not behind bars. But Amanda Jane definitely had some moments where she was ready to seek revenge in her own way. But instead of doing that, she made sure that she carried herself as a lady. So I see we have a caller. So caller, what's your name? Let's welcome you to Underneath the Hat. So as they're coming in, again, if you have read the book, and you want to call in and share with us your favorite part or have a discussion about it, come on in. So again, with Amanda Jane, dealing with the hypocrisy and the manipulation and the lying that was going on around her. I'm sure we all, at some moment in our lives, a couple of times in our lives, have had moments where people have done things to us, people that we trusted, and we find out that they are not the people that we thought they were at all. And that is one of the things that Amanda Jane deals with in the book, how she dealt with that. At the end of each chapter is the purpose and the lesson. Because I feel that so often we go through things and we never evaluate or self reflect on what happened, and we end up making the same mistake again. And one thing that I have realized is that I don't have time to keep bumping my head over and over and over again. So I would much rather figure out part did I play, what could I have done better, and let's fix it so it never happens again. And I accredit that to me being an educator. I am an educator with Chicago Public Schools. This is my 14th year of teaching, and one of the things that they taught us in undergrad and in the master's classes that I've taken is that you should always self-reflect to make sure that you are instilling in these students what it is that they need so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel too much or spend a lot of time giving them things that they don't really need. So with having that experience as a teacher, I have used that in my real life and in my daily life and in my personal relationships. So I make sure that I understand my role in it. Now I know it's hard for us to admit that we're wrong. It's okay. It happens. We say some things, we do some things that we shouldn't have said and done. It's fine. But there's a lesson in everything. Nobody's perfect. And when I realized the things that I have been going through, that I played a part, not a lot of it, but I played a part in some of the things that may have transpired, whether it was being naive, not paying attention to what was going on around me, being so in love with the person that I became blinded to what was going on. I had to sit back and figure out, why is this happening, so that it doesn't happen again, so that my next relationship will be better than my first one. And so through self-reflection, I've been able to move forward and get married again. And so, and here I am now, able to share my testimony. Another part of the book is the chapter called WTF. Now, we all know what that means. And this is the moment where the ground from underneath Amanda Jane totally collapsed. This was after she had gotten divorced, and God has a way of sending you around in the bush. He has a way of sending people to you that will shed light on some things that you possibly weren't ready to receive at the moment that it was happening. But he was able to send this person, and they're called the broken clock in the book. He sent this person in order to shed light on something that had been going on the whole time of the marriage, the separation, even during the divorce. Something that had been going on right underneath my nose, and I was oblivious to it. But God knew that if he had told me at a different time in my life when I wasn't mentally and emotionally ready to handle it, that it would have broken me. And sometimes we wonder, why does God work in the way that he works? And it's because he knows his children. If you are a child of God, God is not going to put more on you than you can bear. And so he knew exactly when to position certain things to unravel in my life so that it could build me up, so that when he finally dropped the bomb on me, or the TKO, as I mentioned in the book, the total knockout happened, I was able to get back up and dust myself off again. So Amanda Jane had found out that someone in her close circle, someone who had been to her home, they had been on vacation. She had helped with taking care of their children. Um, she was even about to leave this person her house and her timeshares and her will that they had a thing going on, as the song said. So I know from a lot of people that you have read this book, and I really want to hear what you have to say. So we're ready for the lines to be open for questions or comments. So let's see if we have a caller. Caller, are you there? Just jump right on in. Hi, what's your name? Tell us your name.
Gina McCarn.
Hi, Gina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So we're discussing my book, Underneath the Hat. Have you read it, Gina?
I have. I've read it multiple times.
Okay. So why did you decide to read it multiple times?
Because even though I'm not a first lady, I'm a woman, and it's just like I have to. When I first read it, well, honestly, I know people. I know the situation what Adam Jane was going through. So it's like I felt everything that she was going through. It's like I was her, but just not being the first lady. And no, I've never been married, but I've been in a relationship. And it's just, I just felt everything. I felt everything. I cried reading the book. I got angry. I just felt like that was me in that position in so many ways. I have recommended people to read it, and I just couldn't stop talking about it. When I first read it, I just couldn't believe, what a man in marriage, a godly man, a pastor at that will put a woman through. He say he loved them and all this, but you put her through this. It just touched me. It did something to me.
Now, what was your best part, or the part that made you react the strongest?
My best part. It's so many parts. Like I couldn't even just choose one part. It's so many parts. Like the whole book is just. I couldn't put the book down. I read the book in one day. Like that's just how amazing it was. The whole thing. I don't have just one part to say, well, I like this. This is the best part because the whole book was just outstanding. I just, it's just, I don't even know what to say.
Well, thank you so much for the compliment. Now, you mentioned that it hit home to you, not just, and that was my whole goal. I didn't want to write a book that was strictly about first ladies, but just about women in general. And you mentioned that. So, how has reading this book changed your perspective on your relationships or how you go about taking care of yourself underneath the hat?
I just know, like, me as a woman and start dating young, it was like, okay, I'm in a ride or die relationship. But as I got older, I have realized that you can't always put somebody before you. You got to focus on yourself. And that was my biggest problem. Putting somebody before me, probably loving them more than I was loving myself. And as years went on, I was seeing more and more why I should love this person. I'm probably gonna cry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But it's just it's a hurtful feeling to love a person, want to build with this person, and they still need the same thing back. But it's like as years went on, I had to look at actions instead of listening to words. And that was my mistake of just listening to them. And so at one point in time, I felt like because I was doing good as a woman, that this man was probably just sticking around because of what I had or because he didn't want another man to love me because he know I'm a good woman, and it was just like this was one of my best friends, so I didn't want to lose him, but at the same time, I was trying not to lose him. I was hurting myself, and I felt broken, and this is another thing. He was broken, and he wasn't healed before dealing with me, so he broke me into pieces. Like now, I was broken. So it's just like I didn't want to deal with him, nobody. I just wanted to stay to myself and let God just lead me down the path for me, to do what's best for me and just focus on what I need to focus on as a woman, as human beings. Everybody make mistakes. I understand that. But doing the same thing over and over again is a choice. It's not no more mistakes.
And you really spoke on something. I had to realize because going through all these things, I ended up going to therapy. And with therapy, I had to realize that I was broken as well. And then from being able to self-reflect on the same issues that I had to then make that big girl decision and realize that the person that I was with at that time was broken too. And two broken pieces can't help each other become whole. So I had to end up getting myself together first and praying that he would be able to fix himself so that he did not make the same mistakes he made with me with the next person, which is like you said. After you've done it once, it no longer becomes a mistake, it becomes a choice. So I want to thank you for calling in and sharing your testimony and sharing how this book helped you to become better and to work on some things for you. And thank you for also encouraging other people to read it. And I hope that you continue to be strong and have an opportunity to heal yourself and take care of yourself underneath the hat. Thank you so much, Gina.
You are welcome. I thank you for stepping out on faith of writing this book to encourage the next person, the next young lady, or a marriage couple, or anything like. You really put an impact on my life, and
thank you so much.
You just a blessing. Like you know how much of a blessing you are to me, and I just thank you for that. And
you're welcome, Gina. Go get you some tissue, Gina. I already know. All right, so if we have another caller, let's put them through now. Again, the lines are open. If you want to discuss the book or just wish me well on my new venture as a radio talk show, a radio host, then call right in. We're waiting for your call. Who do we have next? Again, I want to thank Gina for calling in. I want to thank Gina for calling in. Make sure when you call in that you unmute your phone so we can hear you. Hello? Hello? Hello, how are you?
Hi, Sherri Monet. This is your
Hello,
mom.
Mother. Hi, Mom.
How are you? I just called to say that I am so proud of you. I know the story well, And I just thank God for using you the way that He has used you, because you even told my story. As I've said, our lives are parallel. So I'm just thankful to God to see how much of a young lady that you've grown into, how God is using you, how I know God will continue to use you, how I just believe in my spirit that so many young women will be touched. And my prayer is that, even though it's not really focused on men, but maybe a man will pick up this book and have them to reflect on themselves about how they treat women. Yeah. So, I'm in the midst of getting ready to go into a memorial, but I just had to call and let you know that I am truly proud of you and the work that God is doing. I just listened to the last caller and to see that all it takes is one. And if that's the only one that you touched that one. And so again, I just want to say I love you. Keep on doing what God tells you to do. Keep on being obedient. And as I've said to you before, this thing is going to go to places that you never thought that it would go. So again, congratulations. Thank you, Mom. Know that I'm always on your side. I'm always there. I'm in the background. Being a minister, myself, that I always can't be right there, at your on your side. But know that I am with you and that you have my prayers. So thank you. I'm moving on into the service, and I will chat with you later. I'm looking forward to hearing the good things of today. God bless. Bye. Thanks, and give Abe my condolences. I sure will. All right. All right. Thanks, Ma. Bye-bye. Bye. Well, that's my mommy, and I want to thank her for calling in and wishing me well. And right now, we're going to prepare to take a break. And when we come back, I will be diving more into the great things that are happening underneath the hat, including my YouTube channel and my girls mentoring group. So stay right there. We'll be back in a few moments. This is Underneath the Hat. Welcome back to Underneath the Hat with your host, author Sherri Simmons. All right, and welcome back to Underneath the Hat, an affiliate of Vigilant Broadcasting and the Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. My name is Sherri Simmons, and this is the debut of my new radio show, Underneath the Hat. So we've already discussed parts of my book. We had two great callers call in. Gina, who shared with us about how the book, even though it was about a first lady and a pastor, it spoke to her as a woman, and it helps her to deal with some issues that she's been dealing with and realize that she's not by herself. And then we heard from my mom, who wished me well and even shared that the book was a mirror of the things that she had gone through. And that she prays that even men are able to learn about the effects of the decisions that they make on women so that they can choose to do something differently. So with Underneath the Hat, God has truly been moving and opening doors that I never thought I had an opportunity to walk into. But before we dive into that, we have a caller on the line.
So, caller, are you there? Make sure you unmute your phone so we can hear you. Hello? Hi.
Gina.
Oh, it's still Gina. Gina, you still on the
Yeah.
phone? So you just gonna listen in?
I'm listening.
Okay.
Cause I
All right, well, mute your
I
phone.
have to say too.
Okay, well, mute the phone so other people call in. All right. All right. So, another component of Underneath the Hat is my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel. I decided that, again, being an educator in Chicago Public Schools for 14 years, I've been a third grade teacher, I've been an assistant principal at Bradwell Elementary and at Jesse Owens. I taught 8 years as a third grade teacher at Jesse Owens before moving into the AP position. Then I taught intermediate math at Holmes Elementary School. I taught second and third grade at Nicholson, and now I'm at Whitworth as a STEM instructional coach. So being in all of those roles within Chicago Public Schools, I realized that just like children, everyone learns differently. Everyone has a different way of picking things up. So God has allowed for me to have the opportunity to not only write a book, but also to do web series on YouTube where people can see people share their testimonies. So the name of my YouTube channel is Underneath the Hat Web Series, and we have various topics that we've discussed, all based on the things that are happening inside of the book. And so we have discussed infertility, we've discussed mother-daughter relationships, we talked about dating in the 21st century, we've had a conversation about friendship and what it looks like, what are the good things and the bad things about it. And we are even getting ready to start filming this month on love and marriage and domestic violence. So if you have been a part of one of those web series and you want to call in and discuss it, or if you've been a subscriber to my page or have seen one of the episodes, call in now and let's talk about it. The number is 319-527-2634, or you can tune in by going to Facebook as Talk Radio TV Networks, LLP, or on my page, Underneath the Hat. I really enjoyed having those YouTube panels, those YouTube web series, because it allowed for people to share their stories. And so let's see if someone wants to chime in. Again, the lines are open. If you want to share your thoughts on either the book or the web series, jump right on in. So with the different web series we've done, we've had many people to come through my studio, which is in my basement, and we've had some great, genuine conversations. People have really opened up and shared their testimony, and that is the whole purpose of my Underneath the Hat movement. It's not about me. I'm a very quiet person, if you know me. The fact that I'm talking this much in 34 minutes is shocking to a lot of people, even myself. So has nothing to do with me. This is God using me to be able to finally share my testimony and allow for others to open up and share theirs as well. So again, if you call in, you want to speak, unmute those phones so that we can hear what you have to say. Carl, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, tell us your name.
My name is Andrew.
Hi, Dad. How are you?
Hi, daughter. All right, daughter. How are you?
All right, I'm good. So thanks for calling.
Did you think I will miss this?
Of course not, Dad. So now my father was actually part of one of the web series. We did one, what was that, a month ago, Dad? On,
About 3 weeks,
about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We did it on forgiveness. So I decided to sit down with my mother, who called in a few minutes ago, and my dad, because I realized that I had issues that I had not dealt with both of my parents. And with them being my love foundation, they were the example I saw of how a man should treat a woman and how a woman should treat a man and herself. And so I had to make sure that I had dealt with some of those issues with them so that I can move forward and be a better person for not only myself, but for the person I ended up in a relationship with. So, Dad, how was that experience for you of being on the web, in the web series about forgiveness?
Scary, but very productive.
Okay. How so?
I was kind of afraid at first, thinking things were going to be discussed that I wasn't ready to deal with myself. But it turned out to be a very productive, I learned in the process that forgiving and apologizing for some of the things that I did when I really wasn't aware of what I was doing was helped me a whole lot. I think the program is very productive to a lot of people who probably was not saying anything about it. People, a lot of things doing, and I'm just glad that God is using you as a vessel to promote it, and maybe that you can touch someone that, or they just listening. Maybe someone is just listening. I just don't want to say anything. I'm just saying that it's very productive.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you calling in and being a part of it, because I know you and my mother, they were very adamant about knowing what we were going to talk about, what were the questions, do I really want to do this? And I just wanted to let people see that you have to start with your foundation, because things that I saw you do, the way I saw you treat my mother, is ultimately what I ended up marrying. And even outside of the bad things that my ex-husband did, the good things came from what I saw you do with my mom. And the things that I learned from my mother as a child, I ended up doing in my relationship. So as parents, it was good to have that conversation with both of you, and you both were willing to be transparent and vulnerable and have that conversation. And I got to apologize to my parents who were holding on to resentment that they didn't even realize I had. There were a lot of aha moments on that couch that my mother didn't realize, I didn't realize, you didn't realize. But because we finally just took the time to have a conversation, we were able to form a better relationship once we got off the couch.
Yeah.
So what has been the one thing, the best part or thing that you walked away from that experience?
Wow, you caught me off guard on that.
Or something that you do differently now?
Actually, the therapist helped me out a lot, letting me know that in the process of me just, I'm going to say, venting, that I was apologizing, because I didn't go in with the intentions of really, I didn't know that I was even apologizing, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad it felt good. It felt good to get a lot of things out that I'm going to speak to me that I probably was holding in. And in the process, I heard some things that I probably needed to hear, to let it soak in. Being in that type of format actually helped the whole lot.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the therapist, something that I make sure I do because I don't know everything, and again, I'm a vessel that God is using to allow other people to be healed. I have therapists, social workers, case managers that come and sit in the web series with us, and they give professional feedback and information so that people leave better than when they came. So I make sure that we don't just take a lid off a garbage can and expose all this stuff and then don't put the lid back on. So I make sure that we have someone there that can help these people so that if they want to further their conversations, they have a resource that they can turn to. So that is something that I am very adamant about when planning these different web series, that we have someone on the couch that can give insight into why people think the way that they think, why the decisions are made, and how they can go about making that change. Well, Daddy, I want to thank you for calling in, and I will call you once it's over. And again, thanks for calling and sharing. And I will talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. So let's take a break. And we will come back and finish discussing all of the great things that fall under the umbrella of Underneath the Hat. So we'll see you soon. Welcome back to Underneath the Hat with your host, author Sherri Simmons. Hi, all. Welcome back. This is Sherri Simmons, and this is Underneath the Hat, an affiliate of Vigilant Broadcasting and the Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. And I am your host. Welcome to my debut show. And today I'm just introducing myself to the listeners and sharing with you who I am underneath the hat. So if you would like to call in and share, we've already discussed my book, Underneath the Hat, and my web series on YouTube, Underneath the Hat web series. Just call in at 319-527-2634. Or you can tune in on Facebook at Talk Radio TV Network, LLP, or go to my page and click the link. My page is Underneath the Hat. So I talked about my book. I talked about my web series. So now let's dive into my baby of everything that I have done. And that is my mentoring group called Young Ladies at All Times. This group actually started 3 years ago. I got the idea. I was going for my master's degree, and I was teaching intermediate math, which is 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And I decided that for my dissertation, I wanted to study a particular student that I had. And her name is KW, and she was a 5th grader. And I noticed that she was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. When she was good, she was great. When she was leading a group or had a focus and a goal, she was one of my best leaders in the building. But when it came time to doing things that weren't ladylike, she was down for that too. And she was great in both areas. So I decided to just have a conversation with her and find out why did she do the things that she did. And after having a conversation with her, I realized that she took a lot of her ideas of how she should carry herself as a young lady from watching reality TV. So I decided to do my study on the effects of reality TV on intermediate girls. And from that study, I started Young Ladies at All Times. Now, young ladies at all times is also very important to my development because throughout all of the things that I went through in the book and all of the things that came out, that I realized a lot of women who weren't raised the way that I was, who didn't have some of the people in their lives that could impact them the way that I did, who didn't see other ways of handling things outside of one way, I could easily be in jail right now. I now understand where the show Snaps comes from, and I almost made it to that point. But I had so many people tell me after reading my book and hearing my story that I carried myself as a young lady at all times. And so that's where the title came from. Name came from young ladies at all times. And so with this group, we started in 2017, and I started at Park Manor Elementary School on the south side of Chicago. Thanks to Principal Jenkins, she took a huge risk of allowing me to come in and work with her girls, not knowing me at all, but due to a referral from Minister Terrell Murph at the Congregational Church of Park Manor on 70th King Drive, where I grew up. Due to the way I carried myself in front of him, he spoke highly of me to her, and she took a chance on me. That's why it's so important that you give out a great first impression, because you never know who's watching you, and you never know who will have to speak on your behalf. And so from there, I worked with 10 girls at her school in 6th and 7th grade. We met every Monday from March to June, and we did so many great things. You can check out some of those things on our Facebook page, Young Ladies at All Times, or YLAAT 2017. But we did so many things. Part of the program is that they have a mantra or a motto that they do every Monday, and it spells out YLAAT. So the Y says you are important. The L says love yourself first. The first A says always smile, or a smile goes a long way. The other A is always try and do your best. And the T says touch the lives of someone every day. So these are the things that we pledge to each other every time that we meet. This is the mission and vision of our foundation, because we want to be able to show the girls how to carry themselves in this way. And so they took etiquette classes. They learned how to sit at a table, how to get inside of a car. They learned how to open the door, how to hold the door when you're coming into a building or a classroom. They did vision boards at the very first 2 weeks of our program starting. And from those vision boards, I brought in people who were in the fields that they one day wanted to go into. So we had one young lady who wanted to be an athlete. I found an athlete who went from grammar school all the way up through college, and now she's a judge. And then we had another one who wanted to be a dancer. So we found a dancer to come in and speak to her. So I tried to make sure that I focused on the things that they like, so that they can see women who look like them carrying themselves in those careers that they wanted to go into as young ladies at all times. We went on weekend outings where we would go and practice the things that we learned during our weekly classes. So we went to a restaurant and we used our etiquette training there. We went to the movies and just hung out. They had T-shirts with the logo on there and their names on it. We went to Navy Pier. So I just wanted to expose them to different things that they normally wouldn't be able to do. And at the end in June, we did a Women of Distinction luncheon where we invited all of these women from different walks of life who got to share how they carried themselves as young ladies at all times. And we got to take selfies. All of those things you can find on our Facebook page, again, Young Ladies at All Times, and also on our website, youngladiesatalltimes.com. So I'm proud to say that this year, instead of one school, God is all about increase, enlarging your territory. Instead of one school, we are doing 2 schools this year. So we'll be able to do and reach double the amount of girls. So I will be working with the students at my school, Wentworth, working with 6th and 7th graders. And I actually had 19 of them sign up yesterday. And then my best friend, my BFF, the treasurer of my board of directors for Young Ladies at All Times, Yvette Baker, she will be facilitating the group at her school, Nicholson, and I'll be going over there helping her. So March 11th and March 12th, we will start the new cycle for Young Ladies at All Times with 2 cohorts. So I've reached out to some people to get them classes on etiquette, personal hygiene. They're going to be doing vision boards. We're going on different outings. They're going to shadow people in their careers. So I am truly excited at where God is taking this, all because of the things that I learned from the things that I went through. Now I'm instilling those things in younger girls because I realized that I was able to make the decisions that I made going through the turmoil that I went through, not only because of my relationship with God, but because of the people that surrounded me. I was able to learn from the women that I saw who had gone through some of the same things I had gone through. And through sharing my story, I realized I wasn't by myself. And yet there was another way of handling it. And so I want to instill those same values inside of these girls so that when they come into a situation, instead of throwing bottles and chairs and tables like they see on reality TV, they can carry themselves as young ladies at all times. So again, if you've been a part of Young Ladies at All Times, if you have a story, one segment we're going to be doing at the end of each month, every 4th Saturday, is I'm going to highlight my girls. So they're going to be calling in and telling you about the awesome things that we're doing with the program. And also I'm going to be reaching out to Facebook and Instagram and having you all nominate a young lady at all times, somebody that you may know, may have seen in the grocery store carrying herself in such a way so that we can get more buzz out there about the positive things that these young girls and young ladies are doing instead of harboring so much on the negative. And so every month we're going to have young ladies at all times that we highlight and showcase that are doing great things to carry themselves as young ladies. So again, if you want to call in, you have a comment, a good luck, a well wish, you want to discuss the book or the web series or the foundation, you can call us at 319-527-2634. You can tune in on Facebook at Talk Radio TV Network LLP or click on my underneath the hat page and the links available there. So we will take one more break and then we'll come back and actually no more break. It's almost time to go. That was fast. All right. So let's start wrapping it up. So we've heard about my book and you can get that book on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. The name of the book is Underneath the Hat. And it is available on Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com. You can also find the link on my webpage, SherriSimmons.com, or through my Facebook page, Underneath the Hat. With my YouTube channel, you can go to YouTube and click on Underneath the Hat web series, and you will see all of the episodes we have filmed thus far. We're actually getting ready to film 2 new episodes this month on domestic violence and love and marriage. And as far as my young ladies at all times, if you're interested in helping in some way, whether it's speaking to the girls or volunteering a service, you can go to our website, youngladiesatalltimes.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, YLAAT 2017. Now, one more thing that I've been working on is panel discussions, and they're called Underneath the Hat Live. So we just had one this past Sunday where we discussed mother-daughter relationships. And let me tell you, this was amazing. We had about 22 women there, and they got to share their journey with their mothers and how those same characteristics and traits that they saw through their mom, they were able to connect them to the things that they do today, the decisions that they make. And this is actually the second one that we've done. We did one in June of 2018 on father-daughter relationships. Again, all of the topics that we do are based on issues that are dealt with inside my book, Underneath the Hat. And so it was amazing to have a panel of women, Claudia Parker, Aisha Hurston, Samantha Allen was our caseworker and therapist on the table. We had Erica Williams and Marianne Johnson who came to share their stories. And it was just amazing to hear the stories of people that you work with and see all the time and not really know why they carry themselves the way that they do, why they make the decisions that they make. But it was an amazing time. And we have an upcoming one on infertility on March 24th. I'll keep you posted on the radio show and also on all of my Facebook and Instagram outlets. So again, I just want to thank everyone so much for tuning in, calling in, and sharing their testimony about Underneath the Hat, whether it was the book or the web series. And I just want to thank you all for being with me for my debut show of Underneath the Hat. Again, check out my social media outlets on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Underneath the Hat. My YouTube channel, Underneath the Hat web series. Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. Also, check out my website, SherriSimmons.com, SHERRI Simmons, SIMMONS.com. Everything is there. It's been revamped thanks to Jessica Dent. And I also want you to go to the website or the Facebook page, Talk Radio TV Network LLP, so you can tune in and share the link so those who have been busy this Saturday morning are able to listen in and hear the great things that have been going on underneath my hat. And you can also go to my page, Underneath the Hat, and like it so that you can be kept aware of all of the upcoming things that I have going on. So again, I want to thank everyone, Justin, my engineer, Kimberly McLemore for this opportunity. This has been amazing, and I can't wait to see how far we go with this. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in to my show, Underneath the Hat, an affiliate of Vigilant Broadcasting and the Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. My name is Sherri Simmons. I'll see you again next Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. And remember to take care of yourself underneath the hat.
Thank you for tuning in to Underneath the Hats radio show. We will see you here again next Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Follow Sherri on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Underneath the Hats, and visit her website, SherriSimmons.com. Always remember to take care of yourself underneath the hat. See you next week.